Evening, everybody. The KopTalk
Good evening.
is the after-match analysis of Liverpool versus Man City at Anfield. I'll start off by saying, what a game. It's clear to see the two heavyweights of the Premier League are clearly by a mile Man City and Liverpool. The level of football, the standard of football, it was an amazing game. So with us, we have Blue Moon Ian, our FTB Man City fan. Thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure to have you on.
You're welcome.
Article, aka Artie, and we have Stoney. Thanks for joining us. This is going to be a great little conversation. So guests first, just briefly, we're just going to go through what was your thoughts overall on the game, Ian?
We're ready for this. About heavy metal football, and we were joking on banter beforehand that, you know, if Liverpool City were Iron Maiden, then Palace had just put in a Bon Jovi performance that was heavy metal, but not quite.
Guns without the roses.
I'd probably describe it as it's a juxtaposition between the heritage that Liverpool has of the past and the modern day contemporary nature of Man City. And when you get those two coming together, you get this, it's almost like a symbol of thunder, like nothing else can produce, coming up from the past, coming from the future. Boom, what's going to happen? And boom, it was a hell of a day.
Absolutely. Artie, what was your overall thoughts of today?
Hell of a second half. Definitely, yeah. First half wasn't good. We started off well first 10, 15 minutes, then City came over and started to take over. Gave them a bit too much possession in the midfield, started to overrun us a bit.
Yeah.
And then up steps your boy Salah. As quality as he does, puts us in the game. I think we was a bit unlucky to walk out of there with a draw, actually. Could have snuck a win, to be fair. Snuck a win.
Stoney, overall thoughts?
The only luck you had was keeping 11 players on the top.
Yeah, I won't deny that. But what I'm saying is that we scored 2 good goals. One of yours is a deflection.
They were quite good.
Let's have Stoney's just little moment. We're gonna get into this. I'll get my notes back in a minute.
We got the boxing gloves on nice and early. I just thought it was a brilliant. I think it was an absolutely wonderful spectacle of a football match between two Premier giants. I think for us as Liverpool supporters, and obviously Blue Moon being an experienced and knowledgeable Manchester City supporter as well, I think it was just brilliant for everybody. The timing was right on a Sunday. You know, everybody probably would have been out at the local watering hole, or everybody would have been at home watching the game. But I just think it was a brilliant game. It ebbed and flowed. There was periods of time, especially in the first half, where Man City were in complete control as well. But we were obviously able to show some of the qualities that we have in highlighting how we can defend when we're underneath the cosh. And then in the second half, just completely exploded. So I just thought it was a wonderful game. Absolutely wonderful game.
I mean, I'm the same. Sometimes it's nice to see your team tested when you are at this level, you know, and we really were tested today.
Yeah.
So let's get into it. So the lineup, I was a little bit concerned. I think we mentioned in the Porto aftermatch or in KopTalk that we would quite like to see Gomez at right back if Trent couldn't play. So when I saw Milner was starting, as brilliant as he is, as amazing as he is, I was a little bit worried because, you know, I was expecting him to be up against Grealish, who's very fast and likes to go down a lot. And, you know, Milner at right back brings out his lead side, doesn't he? And he likes to go in hard. And I was thinking, man, he's going to give away some free kicks, some fouls there. And he did. But it was against Foden. And I think that battle between Milner and Foden, Milner definitely lost that battle today. I think it highlights how important Trent is for us. And like we've said in the transfer window, we don't really have cover for Trent unless we're going to try and squeeze Gomez in there. So it would have been the perfect time to start with Gomez, I think, at right back. Ian, what's your thoughts on Gomez not Gomez, Milner versus Foden.
Yeah, I thought it was an accident waiting to happen. Also to remember that that Phil Foden has only just really started his season. He's fresh as hell. He's got all the running in the world in him, and you see that.
Yeah.
And the sadness to an extent is that, you know, obviously we had the summer internationals, and you know, he was injured in those internationals and only just turned up. And what surprise, surprise, he's going to end up playing another couple of games for England, and let's hope he comes back. So no, you're right, but that was always going to be the weakness. At the same time, it balanced out on the other flank where, well, City haven't got a left back goal. They haven't got one. Zinchenko's injured, and we all know where the other left back is. So, you know, they don't have a left back. So Cancelo is a right back playing on the other side at left back. And in the same way, there was an accident.
He did well today.
Okay, there was an accident waiting to happen down your right-hand side with Milner. There was an accident waiting to happen down City's left, with Salah, etc., coming down that side. And if you think about the first goal, and Gary Neville, who's a plonker anyway, but he called it wrong. It wasn't Rodri's missed tackle that allowed Salah to come down that side where he kind of casually flicks the leg out. It was Gio Cancelo, because he was on the wrong foot. And Salah just went past him with some, you know, pathetic stick out leg, and that exposed City massively. So I think both teams were balanced from the start. The vulnerability was at the two full-back positions.
I guess so. Stoney, what's your thoughts on Milner versus Foden?
Well, I think it was quite interesting, actually, over in position, because I think it took a little while for Foden to actually, I would say, pluck up the courage to actually go at Milner, because I think that probably up until about 10 minutes. 20 minutes, I think Foden was really trying to size up whether he's going to actually go past Milner or he would probably pass around him. And if anything, if we all have an opportunity at some stage to actually watch that game again, you'd actually see it was actually Grealish and Foden actually doubling up over on Milner's side. So I've probably looked on it as the other side. I look at it as a mark of respect of the experience and Milner obviously has over there, that Foden and Milner were actually exchanging and doubling up on Milner. So I think he kind of balanced it out. I mean, the substitution came at the right time, but I still think Milner still had a good game over that side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, definitely.
Artie?
I don't know why he started. Honest to God, I don't know why he started at all. Seriously.
I know why. I think it's experience.
I've been talking about this all week in other groups and whatever, and I've been saying we need to start Gomez. A few guys were laughing at me, and now in the same group during the game, they're screaming for Gomez to get on the pitch. I'm like, we should never ever have started Milner. You've got Gomez there, who is a natural defender. Start him. He's got the pace as well to get back if anything happens. I'd start him. Also, we spoke about this beforehand about Konate also being able to play on the right side as well. To me, Milner, he hasn't got the legs. He's always, I put money on it with these guys. I said he's going to get booked. Lo and behold, he gets booked. City, as usual, he's going to get booked. He's going to give away free kicks right around by the box. Should never have played for me. Never. And it shows.
That is so interesting. Whereas for me, my starting lineup I would have had Milner starting. More so, I think, because he had played the previous game as well, and that he would have had the rhythm already in there. So I think it's brilliant that we've all got different opinions on that.
For me,
I think against 80% of the Premier League, it would.
I might have brought Milner on with the last 10 to go, because he's got the experienced head. He might come on and calm things down with the experienced head. Not to stay the whole game. No chance.
Interesting.
80% of the Premier League, you're right. Milner would have been fine at right back, but not against Foden and Grealish.
Nah.
Yeah. This was my thing, but I can see both sides. It's not that I saw Milner there and I thought, oh my gosh, I wasn't panicking, but I just thought I'd like to have seen Gomez there. Maybe the plan was to bring Gomez on around the time that he did, and he was forced to do it anyway. But yeah,
he was lucky to finish the game.
So
he was lucky to finish the
game. First half, like we said, the first 20 minutes, there was no real attempts. It was very calm, very polite, very nice. It was like we had the ball. They were letting us have the ball, and then it kind of went the other way. It wasn't very eventful. I did like seeing Matip have a few of his little adventures out into midfield. Was that frustration from him? You know, like, where's the midfield? Let's get some bite, some energy. It wasn't really heavy metal rock and roll first half, was it? I don't think it was what we were expecting. And like you said, Stoney, I agree, after kind of 10, 20 minutes, it seemed like a lot of the Man City players thought, you know what, fuck it, let's have a go, because they're not.
Yeah.
And I think we invited them to do that by the way we were playing. I think there was a massive gap between our back four and our front three. Don't know what happened in that midfield, especially in the first half, but Curtis, Fabinho and Henderson have a lot to answer for today, because I don't know, Fab's below par, which says a lot, because, you know, we have high standards and he was still at a high standard. And Curtis, I just don't know where he was.
Well, I mean, we were passive, and for me, probably just thinking about the game, as well as Foden and Grealish played throughout the game. I tell you what happened in that first half. Bernard Silva was playing with a cigar. He absolutely ran that midfield. It hurts me to say it, but he absolutely ran that midfield. We could not get anywhere near him. He was pirouetting. He was doing long passes, short passes, moving anywhere he wants. He absolutely ran that first half. Yeah. I know we spoke in previous games. I think we spoke about the game against Porto, and prior to that, we spoke about the game with Brentford, especially when we played against Brentford, and it seemed as if Brentford had more players in midfield than us. Man City did the same thing today as well. We were chasing shadow. We were chasing double shadows in that first half.
It did feel like Brentford at times. Ian, you were going to get rid of Silva, weren't you?
Well,
you're glad you didn't now?
Trading. It's funny, though. You know, players come in different. Sometimes it takes adversity to bring the best out of a player, and that sort of summer. For Bernardo, he was pretty ineffective. What I would say is, and again, Gemma, you and I chatted about it. I said, a City could win if they survived the first 20 minutes of onslaught. And you're right, it didn't come. But I wouldn't blame just the midfield, because usually the onslaught comes from literally getting parried all the way at the back with Salah and Mane and Jota. And it is different with Jota than Firmino. Firmino. If Firmino had been playing, they would have been all over Ederson and the central defenders like a rash from the onset. And it was that bit that was different. Not the defence, not the midfield. They didn't press from the front as hard as they usually did. And that allowed City to play into the game. And to an extent, I would imagine Pep would have briefed them and say, and they would have seen the videos of that Champions League match when City got battered. And thought that's going to come. And if Foden sat back a little bit, they were probably trying to weather a storm that never came in the first 10, 15 minutes, and then thought, oh, this is a bit different. The only other bit I'd add is, I think for the last 25 minutes, City by far the better team in the first half, and they should have scored. If they'd had a decent number 9, if they'd have had a Salah, a Mane, a Jota, or a Fabinho, if they'd had that, they could have been 2 up by half time. I thought Foden looked a little ring rusty early on. He was hesitant. He was doing a bit of a Ram Sterling where you get sight of ball. And actually, the difference when Mane hit that first time, my brother was shouting at me, going, "That's what Foden should have done." Taking the second time early on. Didn't have the confidence. That's what
fine margins, isn't it?
30-year-old experienced player, and City like that. If they'd just had that number 9, then we would have been in 2 up going into half time. But then I would also say I didn't think there was a huge change in Liverpool for the first 20 minutes of the second half. City were just really different, much slower from the back. There was no more pressure. They just looked lethargic in the first 20 minutes. Almost. And
then we did after that.
Liverpool to score, And I don't know what.
I don't know if you look tired.
They look like 2 boxers. They look like Hearns versus Hagler from the 1980s on the road. Rounds.
I don't know. I felt like you were just like, go on then, have the ball. I felt like I don't think you looked nervous or worried at all in the first half. I felt like you were just in your shape. You guys have the ball. Artie, what did you think of Jota today, especially in the first half?
Yeah, he was a bit poor today for me. Didn't really do it. And then that when he got put through as well, and then he cut back when he could have slid Mane in, or he just wasn't doing it today. A lot of the time as well, he was getting a lot of long balls pinged up to him as well, which weren't helping either. To be fair, that wasn't helping.
Sometimes
and I think
Mane was in the middle, he was on the side, wasn't he, at times?
The one time we actually tried to play it through our midfield or through the middle was Matip playing him a ball, came forward and played him a ball, and he tried to slip Mane in, but he hit it a bit too strong for Mane. Mane couldn't get onto it. And other than that, we just trying to ping some 40 and 50-yard balls, which wasn't helping nobody, to be fair.
I know. I know he did get a free kick for us, didn't he? That was when Dias got a yellow, literally hooked him down, didn't he? As he went past him. Personally, I think he was more energetic in the first half. I think him and Robertson in our first half was two of our most energetic players, like pushing forward. Second half, I don't think as much. I think he got a bit swamped then. I noticed sometimes Mane was in the middle. It seemed like Mane and Jota were kind of like interchanging a bit. But I think first half, like I said, I think Robertson was the drive. But yeah, the first half was kind of lacking. Right, we're going to get on to the second half. I'm just going to go through some comments because I want people to feel included in our little chat. Sam, good evening. Thank you for joining us. Solo from Man United Agenda. Thanks for joining us. This is my longtime Liverpool friend, Talep. What a game. It really was. Really was. Thanks for watching. Sam, Foden was just incredible today. Caused all sorts of problems for Milner. Yeah. Like, didn't you say in the WhatsApp group, Ian, it'd be like you marking Ronaldo?
It's not a dissimilar age between Milner and Foden.
How old's Foden?
Milner and me.
How old is he? Foden?
Foden's 20.
I think about 20.
That's nearly 16 years.
You have 16 years onto Ronaldo, and he's taking me on.
Wow, you could have a baby his age, you know. Yeah, bless him. He did considering all of that, and Foden's world class. He did well. He did well. Yeah. Edward Brown, I would have loved to have seen Konate at right back. It's going along with what you said, Artie. For me, against Man City, when he's not played there before for us, that might have been a bit of a gamble. We don't see training. We don't see that. That would have been a big gamble, I think, for me. Talep, Fidel always seems to cause us problems. I think it means Foden.
I liked it when you said Godden.
My typing is awful. You'll get used to it. Like my close family and friends, I don't even spell correct it anymore. They just know what I'm on about. Edward Brown, Fabinho should have hit first time. Oh gosh, we'll get on to the second half in a minute. But I screamed. That would have been the winner, Ian. You would have cried at that point, I think, wouldn't you?
I was changing my underpants at that stage. I really was.
2 seconds.
I thought I was a goal every step of the way.
One touch away from 3 points. In that moment, Salah, Mane, they ultimately are what got us the point. Sorry, I'm been a bit slow today. FTV Nick, this is our KopTalk guy. Good evening. Thanks for watching. He's on a late shift today. Sam, credits to City to play Chelsea, followed by PSG and then Liverpool at Anfield and get a point. I guess. I think we were quite lucky though, the two of us. We had a nice long break, didn't we? So we can't really use the Champions League as an excuse. I don't think that would be fair to say. We had a long break. FTB Nick, we did say that Gomez should start this game, Artie. We did say this on KopTalk. Taleb, I can only think the reason Gomez didn't start is he's not really effective offensively, but that's just my opinion. Well, I guess, but I wouldn't really say Milner is either.
No.
Silva was dangerous. He really was. I think he was. He really had us spinning in midfield. Literally, that one run he did as well, and he made Henderson and everyone just look stupid, didn't he? Had Virgil on his ass. Like that's not easy to do. Mr. B from Man United Agenda. Thanks for watching. Oh, here he comes. Great game. Both teams still wankers, though. Well, watching us, you probably wank to it, don't you, compared to your team? Great game, Salah. Third best player in the world. I'm guessing that he's saying Messi and Ronaldo. I can't really argue with that, but do you know what? Give Salah a couple more seasons. I'm telling you, this guy, I'll get onto his goal in a minute. This guy is just something else, especially, going into this season, people saying that he's old, he's something else. Milner escaped the car that could have changed the outcome. We will get on to that as well. I'm sure Ian's desperate to get onto that. Ian Denholm, evening. Thanks for joining us. Gomez had to start. Poor display today. Midfield quiet, not enough control. We missed Arnold and Thiago, and Milner had to come off at halftime. Absolutely. That's kind of what we've said. Midfield. Nick Ford, I'm not happy. Hendo was a serious liability today. Okay. So it's kind of like a mix of things going on. I think a lot of people are just respecting the levels that both teams bring. And then, obviously, because we have these high expectations, we are going to be upset at tiny little parts of the game and pick it apart. So second half, it just all let loose. I think Klopp slapped them in the dressing room and said, "What the hell are you doing out there?" Do you know what I mean? This is Anfield. Go out there. I mean, we see him on touchline saying, "Be brave," and they came out. And how many minutes is in? We got the first goal.
Not much. And he said it came from like Ian was saying, that move really materialized from the right hand side of the pitch, but the ball through to Mane. I mean, when Mane scored, I screamed like I'd won the golden ticket in Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I'm telling you, I was screaming. Oh, Ian's got the score of the deflected goal.
This guy created and scored today.
Yeah. But you're right. The second half, I mean, the first half was good for lots of reasons. Obviously, to see how well offensively Man City played and how they were able to actually retain possession as well. I think that was really good to see as well. And obviously to see how we were able to weather the storm. But you're right, in the second half, the goals that went in, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. Yeah. And some of the build-up really good to see.
Yeah. So I think we'll get on to let's do the Milner card situation. Ian, you're not happy about it?
I do firstly want to say that both Liverpool goals were worldies. I mean, that strike by Mane was perfect inside that post. And the Salah one, that's got to be in the top 5 goals of the season, top 3 already. So, I do want to be magnanimous to say they were 2 absolute world goals. In terms of the card, I am reasonably objective, more than quite a lot of the guys on the banter group, etc., etc. And remembering Milner's been a City player, and I love him as a player. I love the guy. He's one of the stalwarts of the game. But that was a second yellow. There was just no shadow of a doubt. It was a waist-high tackle. He got tapped by Henderson. You can look at it either or. Either Henderson should have been booked or Milner should have been booked, but you can't get away with neither. And if you look at it the other way, if Henderson had been booked and then he was booked a little bit later, but that decision then changed that Salah goal, because that goal wouldn't have happened if that decision had gone that way. It was an utter game changer. You could see it took the wind out of the sails of City. Guardiola was going crazy. Maybe they weren't as diligent as they should have been immediately after that. But that was a second yellow all the way. But it was probably coming from the when the game started. And credit to Milner trying to defend against Grealish and Foden. I can't. If I can think of whoever has ever been the best, even Trent Alexander-Arnold would have been knackered in the changing room tonight if he'd have been fit. Never mind Milner.
Yeah,
Trent would have got an assist though, so he'd be happy. Foden would have been crying. I'm joking. Stoney, what's your thoughts on the Milner situation? I mean, I've already said I think it's a sad day when I don't want to see red cards in the game. I think
neither do I.
It ruins games. I understand that second yellow. I understand that. I really do.
When we saw Ward-Prowse sent off yesterday, Southampton had battled back into that game. They had weathered Chelsea all the way. And when Ward-Prowse got that Mike Dean on VAR, who got the referee to check that decision, that completely changed that game. Completely.
I think it is sad. And you go back, you know, sound old now. You go back in time, and you know, a lot of these red cards now would never have been red cards.
Back to yesterday, be consistent.
When it's second yellows as well, it's always a bit sad to see. Stoney, what was your thoughts today on the?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things. It's similar to both what you've both said, obviously yourself and Ian as well. I don't like seeing players get sent off. I don't like seeing players get injured either. But I think it was one of those. I have to say this in tongue in cheek. It's I'm gonna cop and do a little Arsene Wenger move and say I didn't see it. I think I can say. No, look, I think it's one of those things. In all honesty, things like that I think equal themselves out over the season. I do believe it was a second yellow card. I have to be honest. I do believe it was a second yellow card. And Milner was really, really, really lucky to obviously have remained on the pitch for that. But as you said, he was lucky staying on. We were able to keep our full amount of players, and it just meant that, as you said, there was an opportunity of obviously getting the goals afterwards. But yeah, for me, it was definitely a second yellow.
Yeah. Artie?
Referee bottled it.
Yeah.
Would never have let that go at the Etihad. For me, it was a straight second yellow, red card. There's no two ways about it. He should have gone. He blatantly, that's all he could do was he stuck his leg out to just foul him. Because he was gone. He was going to be straight through. I just can't understand why the referee wouldn't give it.
See why Pep was having a meltdown. I mean, we have no influence over that. We can't change any of that. I think all we can say is, like Stoney said, you get decisions, you don't get decisions. It happens throughout the season. I did joke and say there was a foul that was given against Jota and Walker, and I said, well, that wasn't a foul either. I mean, it didn't result in anything major, but there are situations where decisions go your way and they don't. I think we've had a couple in previous games that could have been a penalty if it was looked at, but I just think
this was different.
It happens and it doesn't happen. I get that. But we can't change that going into it, you know. So I think we have to just move on from that. I'd rather look back at this and just think, you know what a game. Because I look back at the Chelsea game, and even as a Liverpool fan, I rather have the red card not happened, because I feel like it just ruined the whole game. It became absolute crap game after that. It just changed up, and it's not what you want to see. But I completely see the yellow card situation. So we'll go on to the goals. So obviously we opened the account. I screamed the flipping house down. I screamed. I was like, what? Especially because of who it was. Who was it, Archie? Who scored the goal? Archie's looking for his dinner. Mane.
Everybody's hating on my boy Mane, man.
Yeah.
Hating on him, man. But here he goes. He shows you once again what his one chance, one goal.
Yeah.
Fifth
away,
goal.
like away nonchalantly as well. Quality finish as well. Yeah, listen, I was over the moon for him. Over the moon.
But that's what we've been asking for him. Like that's what I was saying to you. Like that's Mane. That's Mane. The amount of times that he's been in that situation, I think there was 10 times versus Porto, wasn't it? He was in that same situation and fluffed it. Took too many chances, and then today, Mane was back in that moment, straight, no thoughts, no, thinking about it. And I have to say as well, the Egyptian king, to create that moment for him as well, that just shows outstanding. And I fully agree, if Bobby had been on from the start, it would have been a completely different scenario. I don't think the Mane, Jota, Salah thing works at all. I think we've already seen that now. I just want to see our you know, normal front three that we've stuck with. We can try something else, but not in these big games like Man City. So yeah, that was the first goal. Be happy, Stoney, to see Mane finally getting that killer instinct back. I mean, it's his 5th goal, but it's the first goal that's been a classic Mane goal, I believe.
You're right, and I think it was one of those. You know, I know you just mentioned about his performance in the Porto game as well. Mane can be quite an indifferent player as well, because today there's some games where he's getting lots of chances. He probably have about 5 or 6 chances, and he's probably only going to deliver on one. Today was just one where he had one clear-cut chance, and he delivered it. So as you said, it was a completely different Mane today. We're probably at some stage on the KopTalk be dissecting Mane's performance in the last few games, but I'm just looking at all of the positives today, and the positives was beautiful ball played through. He finished, and it just started what continued to be a wonderful game.
Yeah, I mean, Ian, you said you would put at fault who was meant to be marking Salah for that happening in the first place.
Yeah, it was weak left back defending that just let him. If you look at the Joe Cancelo just stuck a leg out. It was pathetic.
I mean, Salah does have these.
From that point onwards, it was world class.
Yeah.
I'm not going to turn it off. You know, and Mane's a great player, and you know, Salah is the Egyptian sphincter or sphinx. I mean, you know.
But your response to that, holy shit, you had me like, fuck's sake. I was like, what? I was so happy. Like, yes, we've got a goal. And then out you lot come. Ian, that first goal for you lot.
Yes.
I know you must have been relieved.
Yeah, it wasn't dissimilar. It wasn't a dissimilar goal. It was a cut inside and a shot just inside the post. It was not dissimilar at all. It was another world-class goal from Phil Foden. And as long as he gets through the next 2 England games, and I always deeply worry when the players that end up on the internationals, he's really fresh.
Well, he might not play him. He might play Saka instead again.
but he's fresh for the season. And you know, there was moments when I thought there were some tired players there after, you know, the European match with midweek. But Foden could, from here till January, he could be one of the Premier League's best players because he's super fresh.
Yeah, I mean, it might help him getting a little bit of game time for England. You know, maybe no. I mean, we don't know what Gareth Southgate's going to do anyway. Who he picks for his teams is just Stoney. That Man City goal. For me, it just summed up Milner versus Foden. Really, I was like, of all the players to get a goal today, had to be Foden, didn't it?
I just thought it was a brilliant goal from Foden. You could already see that he already knew how he was going to strike. You could already see that his body was opened up. Very, very, very good technical player. We saw what he did to us on the other side when he played us before, when he scored that wonderful goal. And today was, a really, really, really good finish. Wonderful execution. And as he said, as soon as that ball came over to him, I gritted my teeth because I knew where that was ended up. And brilliant goal. He had an excellent game today as well. But very good goal by Foden.
Yeah, it really was. But not long after that, I have to this goal. I mean, full props to Man City today. It was a great game, but this goal, I think, man of the match was fully deserved to Salah. Just for this goal alone, it was all Salah. When I keep watching it back, you just see all these Man City players around him. They don't know what to do. He goes in and out and in, and with his feet just so calm, and it just looks so easy. And you know, Man City goalkeeper doesn't get beat often, you know, and it just flew past him. Not an easy goal, but he makes it look so easy. I think he's so underrated. I don't think he gets the props he should, and we've said this so many times. He's just phenomenal. That goal, Artie. How many times are you going to watch that goal this weekend?
Tonight. I'll watch it for the rest of my days. That goal is Tremendous goal, absolutely tremendous. But it's just so disappointing that you score a goal like that, go 2-1 up, and then you let them back in the game. That's the hurtful thing, man. Seriously.
I know.
But yeah, Salah, unbelievable, and with his right foot as well.
Yeah.
Bad foot as well. He finished it off in the end. I mean, yeah, quality.
I
Definitely.
think he's got for us. I was looking. He's got like 15 with his right foot for us in total. So he can do it.
I wonder why certain players just aren't rated. You know, like Sergio Aguero at City was never, in all those years, was never.
I think he's a Premier League.
But no, he was never, you know, the English Premier League's Player of the Year, never. And he never got a nomination for Ballon d'Or. Not at all. It's weird, isn't it? And yet, Salah, you're right. I agree. He doesn't get tagged world class often.
I think it's the English teams, you know. A lot's put on, you know, playing for Barcelona and Real Madrid. You know, I think a lot of it is if you play for an English team. I think.
And yet, God, my mind gone. Who's the Chelsea midfielder who's going to get, you know, who's been nominated?
Jorginho.
Yeah, he's lauded as the best player in Europe. You know, Ballon d'Or winner. Jesus.
Yeah. It's ridiculous just because of the Euros, wasn't it?
I think he's slow and gets caught in possession too often.
Yeah, that's absolute. I mean, I'd take Basuma over him.
It is strange, though, isn't it? You know? You've got Jorginho on a pedestal, and yet that you know he is a phenomenal player, Salah. Yeah. Why isn't Salah Ballon d'Or winner or greatest? I know he's African, but
it's I think it is the Premier League. A lot of times, a lot of players they seem to have to leave the Premier League and go to a different league just to get that status. It's almost like you haven't made it until you've played for Barcelona or Real Madrid. And I'm hoping, you know, with the fall of the mighty giants now, you know, the big colossus, that stuff's going to start changing, because I think it's ridiculous. It shouldn't matter who you play for. If you're a phenomenal, outstanding, world-class player, you need to be able to get that recognition and not have to go to, you know, the Spanish league to get that recognition. But I feel like that's always kind of been the way. I know with Ronaldo, he did get Ballon d'Or, didn't he, from Man United before he went there. I think that was like a rare thing.
Yeah. But that's interesting as well, and I completely agree with you, Ian, about Aguero. But I also agree about De Bruyne not being put up on that pedestal as well. That's just my opinion, because I think they're both good. So for me, the fact that Aguero didn't win any, in my opinion, any of those elite awards while he was in England still mystifies me. Yeah. I have absolutely no idea. But you know, when you're talking about the Ballon d'Or, so you're right. Ronaldo won it. Did Ronaldo win it when he's at Manchester United?
Yeah.
But didn't Owen win it as well when he was with us, or was that when he's at Real Madrid?
I thought it was with you.
My memory.
I'll have to go back and check.
I think it's with you.
I think
it's with us.
I'll have to go back and check, but I'm sure Michael Owen did. But just going back, because you're right. We were just talking about Aguero. Thoroughly agree with you on that, Ian. I've absolutely no idea why Aguero was not held in that high regard as well. Wonderful player.
It was also an interesting stat that they put up today for the most goal involvement in the Premier League since 2017. Did anyone see that?
No.
I had to get that. So the most goal involvement since 2017. So this is the top four, right? This is the fourth one. Raheem Sterling with 66 goals and 29 assists. Jamie Vardy, 82 goals, 20 assists. And then second is Harry Kane with 88 goals, 22 assists. I know you know who's first. Mo Salah, 101 goals, 36 assists. Wow. He is head and shoulders above on assists and goals, and apparently he's selfish. 36 assists, and Harry Kane's only got 22. The closest to him is 29.
About 556. He's going to be the winner.
You know,
Jorginho was in that. I wonder where he was in that little league.
God,
I know
it's crazy, isn't it?
He didn't arrive till 2019, to be fair, but yeah, even if you just broke it down to the last 2 years, all the time he's been there, bet he still wouldn't make the top 50.
Yeah. I mean, the total as well, like Mohamed's total is 137 and Harry Kane's is 110. Like when you add them all up together, the impact Mo has just in himself. I think he's barely missed any games as well. He's Mr. Reliable. Sorry, Ian, I know we're just boasting up Mo right now, but that goal just, he's come out this season.
Taking anything away, he's a fantastic player.
All the people saying he's old.
If he was in the City team, he wouldn't be scoring 25, 30. He would. With De Bruyne behind him, I reckon he'd score 50.
Really?
Yeah,
I tell you who else had a really good game for City today. I thought your captain. I thought Ruben Diaz had a really good game today. I know Artie mentioned previously about one of the opportunities that we had in the first half when Jota cut back on his left foot to make a shot. Jota actually sold 3 players, and it was actually Diaz that actually had his foot out to make the block. I thought Diaz had a really, really, really good game today. He has been having good games anyway, but I thought today was a nice standout performance for Diaz today as well. And as a captaincy, I think he led really strongly with a lot of experience and authority from the back today as well.
Yeah, I mean, I can't think of a particularly poor performance through the City team or Liverpool team, really. It was a class performance all the way through. But, when Van Dijk and Diaz, you got 2 of the top 3 defenders in the world, haven't we?
Yeah.
Sorry, Ian. Sorry, mate. I'd have to disagree there. Mate. Milner and Curtis Jones. Piss poor. I thought we should have been playing with 10 men. To be fair,
yeah, no.
He was missing.
Yeah, it was a big gap at right back. There was no one else. I agree that Gomez would have been a better option in terms of pace and being able to put up. But I'm not sure what right back position in any team could cope particularly well with a returning resurgent Foden and Jack Grealish behind them. It's a tough gig. That's a tough gig. In terms of Curtis Jones, you're right. I didn't think. I thought Henson didn't come good till the second half either. I thought he was not great in that first half.
Mm-hmm.
But it's interesting. I know, Gemma, you came on afterwards and you said, "Oh, it might be a day for Thiago or for Elliot." I agree. Elliot's energy would have been a compliment to the game, but Thiago, honestly, I know we're all going to fall out with this one, but I do not think he's cut out for the Premier League. He is a look at me quarterback style player who will rip it apart in Italy, probably Germany, probably Spain, but in the Premier League, nah. I don't think he would have known.
Yeah, he already has in 2 games this season.
Yeah,
he was playing very well before he got injured.
This season,
he looked great against Norwich and Newcastle. He'll put the no-look passes in against Norwich and Newcastle. Well, whoopie-doo. I mean, you can only play what you play.
Exactly.
I mean, I'd like to revisit and have you back on, at the end of the season, and we can revisit this. But I have to disagree, and I think the way we play and the way Klopp will play him will counter your argument. Stoney, do you want to answer to that?
Yeah, well, 100%. I think I'm in the same camp as Gems here. I think on some of our previous shows, I think we spoke about with some of the restrictions that all clubs had in football, we weren't really able to see the true impact or quality that Thiago would have had for us from last season. But I still believe he's the right fit. I still feel he complements our squad. And I still believe that he can make a difference in a lot of games that we have played and will continue to play as well. So I say the same thing for everybody just viewing in as well. Watch this space. Love him. And he's the right player for us.
I go with what our CopTalk panelist Nick said as well. He's got a little violin
games and in some of the cup games and against the lower half teams in the Premier League. You're right, but I'm waiting to see him run the show against the top 5 Premier League club, or to turn it on, say in the European quarterfinals and onwards. I'm not certain he's got it at that level. I think he looks great against minor teams.
Okay, that's fair enough.
Yeah. I was going to do a couple more comments a minute. We'll leave that there. Like I said, we will revisit. We believe very differently. And I was just saying, our COP panelist, Nick, he said, he's got a little violin that he plays and conducts the midfield. A lot of Liverpool fans were doubtful as well from last season, but I don't think you could have judged any of our players last season, because it was every man fighting every position. It was an absolute shit show, wasn't it? Because of the defense. So I'm going to judge him on this season and what I've seen so far. I am more than happy. So we've got Chris King, Gunnar King, that Salah goal, absolutely. I think we're going to be talking about that for months. FTV Nick, all I can say is still unbeaten. I was thinking, my gosh, if we lose today, it will be the first time Virgil has lost at Anfield. Like, that is crazy. Virgil has never lost at Anfield. So I am so happy we kept that stat more than anything, more than losing in this league this season. So yeah.
I heard the lads from Brentford send their regards to Virgil.
Yeah.
He's a legend in Brentford.
Yeah, well, there we go. Gunnar King, it was a second yellow, and I think you got lucky in the first half with the pen shout on Foden. I will add to that, it was on the edge of the box. And it was a bit of muscle. I mean, I could see it either way. You could argue it. Ian's upset, I know. But if anything, it would be a free kick. Go on, Ian. Go on.
No, you're probably right. I'm not going to say it was.
No, you voice what you want to voice. Don't get it out.
It was a foul. It may not have been a penalty, but that's what VAR is there for. You know, it's VAR, unless I've misunderstood it, is only to be used in a game-changing opportunity. Yeah, either on a red card or a potential penalty decision. Yeah, that was a potential penalty decision. VAR should have looked at that. End of story. And they would have probably deemed it was a foul on the edge of the penalty area. That's fair enough, but it still should have happened.
But they could have looked at it and saw that it was on the edge, so left it.
But they didn't look at it. There wasn't a VAR. They didn't stop it for that. But yet a few minutes later, I can't remember who was through for Liverpool, and there was a VAR look. That was a foul. There was no question of doubt that was a foul.
I mean, yeah, Stoney, RT, do you want to add anything to that? I mean, all I can say is
Foden kicked his other heel. That's why he fell down.
we will disagree on this. We will.
Listen, I do agree. I'm going to be honest.
The thing was, he didn't go down.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest.
So he was still on his feet.
Yeah,
I hear what you're saying, but he was still on his feet and remained on his feet. So that argument's over.
There was minimal contact.
There was, but you know, it goes again in what we've seen in previous games as well, not just with the City man, not just with the City Liverpool game, but we've seen in other games. Yeah. Sometimes players don't get their just deserves for being honest. So if Foden had actually fallen very quickly or was quite theatrical with his fall, I reckon the decision, I believe the decision would have been differently. So because he was honest and tried to actually break the fall, because even when he slid, he tried to get back up onto his knees to actually continue with play afterwards. So sometimes in opportunities, if you're too honest, you don't get the decision you want.
Yeah, and we've had that this season. This is what I was alluding to earlier. We've had that twice this season, I think, with Salah. He gets a lot of sticks saying that he dives a lot, but there are situations where he could have probably, like Stoney said, if you make a big fuss of it, he could have got a penalty. But you know, it is what it is, and I fully understand why you're annoyed. And I wouldn't have been upset if they'd have given a free kick for that. I would have been upset for a penalty because it was on the edge of the box.
I agree. I'm not sure it was a penalty, but it was a foul. But what I'd say is, and I'm defending Salah here actually, is players play with this incredible. There are players with incredibly low center of gravity, like Salah, like Aguero, like Grealish. They've got this really low center of gravity, so it's almost everything they do is on such a pinnacle edge that it just takes a bit of a touch, depending on that style of player, to tip them off that center of gravity. But the reason that they're world-class players is because they take that center of gravity to the absolute extreme. But it also means a touch on any of those players and they're going to go over that edge because they take it to the edge.
I would also argue, I think there was a point in time, if you look through our seasons with Salah, I'm just going to go off topic a little bit because he does get labelled as being a diver. If you go back, I think there was a point in time where he wasn't going down and he was continuing fight because he just wanted to score. And then all of a sudden, he did start going down when he had contact. And I almost felt like people were saying to him, look, we're not going to get penalties. And you could have got a penalty if you don't go down. And then it was almost like he was doing it too much, a little bit. I don't know what happened. I think it's kind of evened out a bit now. But it's this situation we have where, like Stoney said, if you don't go down, you don't get the penalty. So, what do these strikers do? Do they stay on their feet to not get this diver label on them? Or do they go down because it's a penalty? Because ultimately, all they want to do is score. The honest ones, the proper footballers, all they want to do is score.
Yeah.
And if they are fouled, they have to go down to get the penalty. And then they get labelled as a diver and sometimes don't get it. So you're going to lose either way.
Yeah. Maybe when Phil Foden's over 25, he'll do the same. And maybe that's all it comes. Your natural exuberance takes you to 25, and after that you're so worldly that you know what you got to do.
Yeah.
Well, there are players that seem to look for touches more, and I think even their own fans would agree that they would rather them just keep going than take the touch and go down. I'd have to say, don't know if you'd agree, but watching internationals, I think Sterling can be guilty of that as well at times. He'll feel a touch and he goes down rather than keep.
He runs with his upper body thrust forward in the same way Salah does. So the tipping point, I'd say for both of them, and I'm here defending Salah on this one because
no, I totally get that.
Run with that style, with that big bum, high, lean forward approach, and that means they'll go over.
Yeah.
I can see that. Anyway, we'll move on from that anyway. Ultimately, these decisions, I'm sure there'll be many more. There's already been how many red cards? I'd love to count it up. There's been a lot of red cards and penalty decisions already. We should do a show all on that alone. I think if you dissected every single one.
Maybe this is the exercise. Maybe there's a correlation. Maybe there's an equation that says the bigger they are to the player, the more easily they go down. Like Hazard. Hazard always went down really quickly.
That's
so
true.
Salah, Sterling, Grealish, and they've got quite a high arse to body ratio, if you know what I mean. I reckon there's something in this.
Yeah. What about Fernandez? How high is his ass off the floor? Because he spends a lot of time on the floor.
He's a complete arse. He's bound to go down.
Yeah.
Oh, right. We've got Gunner King. Enjoy your win, but you ain't got that invincible swagger. Mate, these guys are living off 2004 for so long now. I don't even care about your invincible. We got more points than you in so many seasons. Like, that's more impressive to me, to go a whole season losing one game. Ian, your team, how many points did you get one season?
100.
That's more impressive, isn't it? Yeah. Come on now. No.
I see how many goals they scored. What was their goals to win ratio?
I know. 12 draws they got, didn't they? I mean, yeah, unbeaten, well done and everything, but nah.
Saved by a Robert Perez dive.
yeah. Do you know what I mean? Let's analyze that season. He's coming in here with his should have been a yellow card and penalty. Let's analyze your games from that season. Talk MU, great game to watch. Thanks for tuning in. It really was. Gunner King, it was a decent game, but your club will be scared of facing us this season. I mean, we do have the fear factor, but I think a lot of these teams now in the Premier League, they don't fear people anymore. I think everyone's kind of got this attitude of go hard or go home.
Brentford or Leeds, clubs like Villa, they're not afraid of anyone.
No, they enjoy it more than anything. Talk MU, Milner got lucky, to be fair. Taleb, that goal was on his weak right foot as well. Yeah, it's just world class, isn't he? I don't know what this is. LFC have launched an investigation after it was found that someone in the Man City camp was spat on.
Okay, I don't know anything about that.
I'm not going to really comment on that, Nick, but, I'm never going to condone anything like that. But I kind of like to leave a lot of this stuff out of our shows because I just want to focus on the positives and I don't want to give people like that the time.
Liverpool aren't like that, are they? I'd be surprised. I can't think of a single Liverpool player that I'd imagine would do that.
Moving on. Talk MU, PSG are funny. They lost 2-0 to Rennes today. Not one shot on target. Not one shot on target.
Wow.
I love football. We must have won them out.
You're right. You must have. I watched the game. It was just so weird. It was like I'm watching Messi and Mbappe and Neymar, and there was just nothing. And the first goal was an own goal as well. I mean, this is why we love football. It's absolutely crazy. Nick talking about the incident. We'll wait and see what comes out of that. But obviously we're not going to condone that. We have a Monday. He's cheered up now. He's very upset yesterday. A great game of footy. 2 top managers. Thank you, Amundi. We appreciate the recognition for that. Pyro Destiny, good evening. City are a striker away from being unbeatable. Great game, shocking refereeing. I wouldn't go with shocking. I don't think I'm shocked in the Premier League by a lot anymore. Yes, it should have been a second yellow. We're agreeing with that, but I wouldn't say it's shocking. It should have been a second yellow. I think maybe he regretted the first one or whatever. I don't know. Like Artie said, I think he just bottled it. He didn't want the drama of giving a red card at Anfield. It would have been a huge thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah, and City actually have a striker. They have a number 9, but they don't play in the striker position. So that mystifies me sometimes as well. I was under the impression, I can be completely wrong, I do not work for Man City. I do not work for Jesus's management team, but I was under the impression that Jesus was a striker. But he no longer plays in that position.
I thought he was, but he's almost pinned his colours to playing out on the right. The choice is either him or Maris at the moment. So it is bizarre.
Yeah. Bizarre. Ian, can I just ask, is that Jesus wanted to play out there, or is that Pep deciding he wants to play him out there?
It's Pep, isn't it?
I don't know. I don't know. I think Pep is conceding that that's probably his best role. He's bloody good, but he's just not a number 9.
This is just how Pep likes to play.
Yeah, and
seems.
Yeah, when you think back to Barcelona had David Villa and they had Samuel Eto'o. I mean, they were absolutely out and out number 9s. Those 2 guys, and Pep decided, and at Bayern Munich you had Lewandowski. I mean, you can't have more number 9 than number. He's the ultimate number 9. So I don't know. It's. Post knowing Aguero was going to go, and a lot of people go, why didn't they offer Aguero a new contract? Well, we find out because he's gone to Barcelona and hasn't shown up yet because his body's knackered.
He's been in the back room.
They chased Harry Kane, but there should have been a plan B or C. I would have taken a Jota, a 40-50.
Would you have been happy with Kane though?
No, personally, I didn't want him. Too much money for his age, and Pep is a. How do you say? He's a very directional and controlling and petulant manager. So when you get young people who do as they're told, they work really well with Pep, and that's not Harry Kane. I think perhaps, but I'm a bit worried about Haaland's recent ego. But you need a striker, a young, moldable striker who will do what Pep tells him to do. And that was not going to be Harry Kane. And
what's about Torres?
It's weird because for Spain, it's a bit like, and I know there are certain players who in different leagues or in a national team look really, really good. But in the cut and thrust of the heavy battle of the Premier League, don't quite have it. And I haven't seen that yet from Ferran Torres as a potential number 9. I mean, he's still very young, but you can't throw an impressionable player like that in. I think you've got to get somewhere a little bit more close to the finished article. And yet, it's been really annoying. I've been taking my hair out about this. They could have, if they'd have, Danny Ings, he could have filled his boots.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, we packed him nicely for you, didn't we? Could have had some Klopp insight information there.
Yeah. But at Liverpool, Danny Ings was forever injured. So I understand why Liverpool gave up on him, because he was really badly injured. But if you remember back to the very early days of Steven Gerrard's career, between the age of about 17 and 22, he was wrecked all the time, and it was only 23 that he followed the same path as Danny Ings. But I love Ollie Watkins. I think he's a fantastic player. So there are those players around, and I'm just frustrated that City don't go out there and.
I mean, I think we're in pretty similar situations. Like we were kind of saying this transfer window that a lot of us were saying we'd quite like for us to get a striker as well. It just seems like we're very similar managers that don't really seem to.
How many more do you want? You needed a midfielder. Your money would have been spent on a midfielder, and a midfield. Liverpool, I think, Basuma, that sort of strident, strong midfielder. We
have our thoughts on that, and we have actually. If you tune in as well, next week we're going to be doing a transfer show. There are a lot of rumours going around Liverpool at the moment. Some of them are exciting, some of them are a bit like really. So yeah, I think there's still talks out there. I think that's still kind of happening, but we also think the situation with Origi, possibly he was told either suck it up and show us what you got, or you're getting shipped out.
He's not good enough. That's the bottom line. He
can be. He has that in him, but that's a whole new.
He's got it in him.
Conversation.
A top, a below the top 6 club player. Yeah, he's got it. He's got that in him, but he's not a top 6 player. He's not a top.
Archie, you're looking upset.
No, I'm not upset at all. Not upset at all. I just still feel that he just hasn't been given that run of games to see what he can really do. Yeah. It's always stop, start, stop, start. He's got no fluidity, so I wouldn't really say how they could judge him like that. To be fair.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess you do have to take your chances when you do, and I think this season he has been showing that he is doing that, because we were looking at his. I think we had here, wasn't it? The goal scorer.
I mean, he's merrily let the boy Jota walk in and take his breakfast.
He's got a goal and 2 assists so far this season, so he's not doing too bad.
Well, you could use the money and spend more on a really good midfielder.
Well, this is another thing. Are we putting him in a shop window so we'll get a bit more money for him? We don't know. Anyway.
You can pick up 25, 30 million for him and then add another 20, 30 and get yourself a world-class midfielder. It's probably worth it.
We could sell him to City.
Yeah, you want him? Anyway, let's move on.
Use him as the bait. Use him as the bait for Basuma or Sarr.
Well, Watford have sacked their manager, so Sarr might be going cheap somewhere soon.
Yeah, I'd like that.
I would like Sarr as well. I said that from transfer window.
Those two are the sort of midfielders you want.
They're going to be hot property, aren't they? Let's move on. On Monday, watched 2 of the best so-called CDMs in, I'm guessing that's Rodri and Fab today. United take note. I don't know if that's sarcasm or what, but
he's been complimentary. Fred lost them 3 points yesterday by being a win. Again, he's right. Neither would Rodri nor Fabinho would have got knocked off that ball yesterday.
No, at all. I absolutely love Fab, and I think Rodri. There was one tackle in particular today, wasn't it? That was fantastic. I think that was another time you said that you were, squeaky bum time, wasn't it, Ian?
I thought it was a goal. I thought it was a done deal. But nice to actually have both of those 2 players, the 2 we just talked about, and they were the 2 head up the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. Is Mo worth 500k a week?
Yeah, central defensive midfielder. One of them is right back there defending, and the other's trying to put it in the back of the net from the other side. And that's they're the fittest guys on the park, because they have to do both jobs.
Yeah. And Fab can get some screamers, as you well know. Artie, is Mo worth 500k a week? This is from Mr. B, Sony's big brother.
To be honest, I don't think any player's worth that. I think it's silly money. But in the current climate, you have to give him. You'd have to say yes. for what he does for this team, you'd have to say yes.
I mean, Stoney, where's all this coming from? Is this his agent? Is this media talk hyping up the situation? He's such a humble guy. I can't see this aggressive
I think it's
drive coming from him.
I think it's a collective, and I think whether it's coming from him, whether it's coming from his agent XYZ, it's probably putting together his worth. So if he's probably looking at the numbers from other players and probably what they're on currently to what he's on. I think I was looking at it. He said that amount of money is crazy, but we're only speaking about football. We're just speaking about football terms. Mm-hmm. If that is something where Mo is in a position to have that salary paid as part of his new contract, it means that Liverpool are in a position to play him and not break the bank. If we're not able to and he moves on, I believe he'd move on in everybody's blessings and someone's that's been at our club and had some exceptional performances. So either way, it's a win-win for both players. But as he said, if that is what his agent's being asked for, Liverpool are in a position to pay it, well, so be it, really, isn't it? As he said, football money at the moment is crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
That might be the Fernando Torres Mark II.
Yeah.
You
know, Klopp might be making him what he is. I mean, I don't think it would be that bad a downfall. What's Foden on a week? Because my son said something the other day and I didn't believe him.
I think he's just got a pay rate. When I looked at the beginning of the season, he was on 30 grand a week, but he'd been getting, I think he's on 150, 160 now.
Okay.
I mean, the weekly wages thing, I just don't know. It's not the way our pay structure is set up anyway. Our pay structure is slightly different. We do it with bonuses and stuff. So I'll stay out with that. I think he signed on till 2023 anyway. So I don't know what the big panic is all of a sudden. I think it's because everyone else was signing on and he wasn't. But well, I'm not worried. Like you said, if he goes, we'll get a lot of money. And like with Coutinho, we reinvested it in Becker and Virgil van Dijk.
Exactly.
It strengthened us more than anything.
If he goes in 2023, he'll only be the same age as Aguero left City.
This is it. You know, you can't just rely on one player anyway. So if there's going to be a stink, hold it up about it, and he wants to go.
So be it. And as you said, I think it's something as well. If Liverpool are weighing up the possibility of his salary a week, I don't think that we're going to be boxed into a corner to actually pay Salah for that. And I think that I would be disheartened to think that Liverpool are not already looking at 2, 3 or 4 options, nobody on Salah's level, but 2, 3 or 4 options. If Salah does move on, then they'll come back in our squad and they'll slowly be blended in. We're never going to have another Salah, but there's also other exceptional players out there in the world. So it's part of coaching and it's part of purchasing and recruitment.
Absolutely. You shouldn't be, we're not going to be held to ransom by a player anymore. That's not Liverpool. No. That's not what we do, is it, Artie?
We're not Arsenal.
Nah. Not what we do at all.
Look what happened to Aubameyang after the new contract.
Whoa. Exactly.
We got a Monday. He agrees with you, Ian, with Thiago. Again, we'll revisit. You've got a fan, Pyro Destiny. Not sure what part that was, but he said you're speaking facts. You've got another fan here. RT Amundi wants a chair like yours. Mr. B saying, in it, your chair looks expensive, like a big backrest. They're loving it. We got Amundi saying Jamie is a suspect for the spitting. I'm waiting for that to come. Nick suspects Amundi. Amundi saying Jamie has history. We know this. I was waiting for those jokes to come. Ian talking about man shaped like a mampy. I don't know what that means. I think
that's my bum to body ratio that I was talking about.
More of a voluptuous size.
If everybody watches, let's see which players are going down quicker. The ones with the big bums or not.
All right.
Okay.
Oh gosh.
Oh gosh. Yeah, they're just laughing at that. Young Lees, good evening. Thanks for joining us. Thumbs up. I don't know what the thumbs up for, but thanks for commenting and getting involved. Talk MU, there are 2 teams in the title race, Man City and Man City's B team. Talk, have you looked at the Premier League table recently?
Presumptuous that.
Who's at the top of the table, Talk, if you're still there? And who's second if you're still there?
It's not City.
It's not City. And he's saying Chelsea will go for Salah because they will pay whatever it takes. He wouldn't go. This is another thing. I don't think he would go to another Premier League team. I think Salah's quite. I don't know. I mean, I could eat my words on that one, but personally, I don't think he would go back to Chelsea after they lost faith in him and shipped him out.
Lukaku did.
Well, yeah, he did, but you know,
it's football, as he said. Football can allow us as supporters to be quite emotional, but I'm still quite 50-50 on this, quite rational on it. If he moves on, I'm sure he'll move on with our blessing, and we'll get a good price. And if he remains, then I'm positive that he'll continue giving a wonderful performance for us. But I don't want us to keep him if he's going to try and, or if his agent suppously will hold us to ransom.
Absolutely. I mean, I look at Rafa Benitez. I love him to bits.
The team
fact that he's at Everton doesn't bother me.
If Mbappe, which always seems like a done deal, does go to Real Madrid, that's where you've got to fear he'd go.
That's fair enough.
I don't fear losing players. I really don't. You know, when Coutinho said he wanted to go, it was like, all right, go on then, because I don't want someone to play for my team that doesn't want to play, and it showed in some of his performances towards the end. And then, you know, you have to look at Harry Kane. I bet they wish they sold him now, don't they?
Yeah, if at the end of this season you lost Salah but picked up Haaland, you'd go with that.
Yeah,
definitely.
We've got Nick here. Haaland is a possible target to replace Salah. Then there's what we already have in Elliott. There was a lot of rumours we're interested in Bellingham. There's connections out there. I think nothing happened this window because there are things happening. I fully believe that there are things happening, but it just wasn't for this window because of last season being such a mess more than anything. Mampy shout. Fanatic 1, thanks for joining us. What a good game for the neutral. It really was. And I guess everybody in the Premier League was happy it was a draw and that we only took 1 point each. Talk MU, Man City are winning the league, end of story. This is a Man U fan, by the way. I think he's lost all hope.
7 games, we play 7 games.
Yeah. Nick, how much money you want to bet or lose with that statement? FTV Nick, don't waste your money, mate. I think it's way too early. Way too early to call.
Yeah, way too early.
Yeah.
Way too early.
Well, early.
So a couple of weeks ago, Tottenham were sitting at the top of the league, happy and rosy a couple of weeks ago.
Transfers. Who comes back safe from the international break? And I'll just put that on the agenda again because that always troubles me.
Yeah,
well, we only got one out anyway.
We have a terrible record with that coming back from internationals.
We haven't seen John Stones this season. We didn't see De Bruyne till late. We didn't see Sterling till late. And they were all, and Zinchenko as well from Ukraine. Yeah. So they've all been international casualties.
You're lucky with Zinchenko. I think he's crap.
He's out of position. He's not left. No, you're right. Actually, I'm going to be magnanimous. He's like Urugi. He'd be good enough for anything outside the top 6.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah, I don't think he's not City class for me.
He's not a starter. Is there players though? You know, like I'd say, even with Man U, like Lingard, like us with Origi, there's players that you need within your squad for subbing on and for depth of squad. You can't just have all your players in your team as starters. You know, you have to have bench players that are happy to be benched, but can come on in and cause a bit of a disruption in a game. Is he not one of those players for you?
United could use a player like that in the Carabao Cup if they're in it.
Yeah. But they're not. They're not very good at rotating, are they? I think that's a sore subject for them right now.
You know, we were exchanging, Paisley and Fagan, all that lot, and co. They used to love winning that trophy to give them that field facts and that projection board, that springboard to the other trophies that season. In the same way, Pep loves it, because success breeds success. And I don't know.
Klopp doesn't give a shit about Carabao Cup. I'm not gonna lie. And who have we got? We've got is it Preston? Yeah. Guarantee that'll be our under 21.
Yeah, City away at West Ham, which is gonna be tough. But I think it's
for a change. We've got a really easy game for a change. We never get that. I was shocked.
Winning that tournament again. It'd be interesting in the statistician. I wonder how many of those league championships Liverpool won back in the 80s and 90s after having won the Carabao Cup versus after that era. Just a thought. Because pretty much all those leagues that league championships City won in the last few years, the 5, they won the Carabao Cup at the same time.
But you weren't winning Champions Leagues, were you? We prefer to focus on those two things, because we won the Champions League and then we won the Prem.
I wonder, again, going back into the history of Liverpool, I wonder how many of those Champions Leagues came at after winning a Prem, probably. When Julio won the Champions League, didn't they win every trophy apart from the league?
Yeah.
There you go. So that kicked it up.
Yeah, interesting. That is interesting.
Talk MU's back. Okay, I will come back each week of Premier League games and let's see where City are. Man United are not winning the league this season because Ollie is not brave enough. Simple as that. I mean, you guys just lack.
They lack backbone and character. You've got the player,
too many egos,
the manager hiding under the table, and the supporters saying City are going to win the league. I mean, it's a shambles.
Yeah.
Someone's got to be stand up at United and be counted. Is that the manager, the captain, the best player, or the supporters? Because everyone's under the table.
Yeah, I give it to Mr. B. Mr. B, he'll whip them into shape, no doubt.
No doubt.
When he's awake and alive. Thank you, Mr. B. Great show, FTB. Keep it up. This is Cotton Talk, Mr. B, and we appreciate you watching. I think we're going to wrap this up now because I think after today we all need a drink. And I'm going to go and watch the Salah goal on repeat. So yeah, they're just saying they're a realist and they don't bet. So sum up your mood now, boys. We've talked it out. We've gone over the second yellow, the Salah goal, the De Bruyne deflection. Bless Matip. I felt bad for him. I love Matip, but do you know what I mean? If he'd have just kept his ass down, Becker was going to save that goal. I fully believe Becker would have saved that goal, but I cannot be angry at Matip because he's such a great guy. But yeah, final thoughts, Artie, in your big chair that everyone's of now.
I'm slightly disappointed because I feel that we could have snapped that the win, but a point will do. We remain unbeaten against a quality team like City. Can't grumble, to be fair.
Yeah,
absolutely. Ian, what's your final thoughts now? Just therapy session with us.
We played really well for about 60% of the game. It's not enough to win the game, so I suppose a draw is reasonable. But 60% of the game was really good for City. And I would say if the rest of the world was watching, you must be damned envious of the Premier League.
Yeah.
That's as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Stoney?
Yeah, perfect summarization. What Ian was saying as well. I think it was, I think on early reflection, I'll watch the game later on again and watch it again tomorrow. But early reflection, I think a draw for Liverpool, I think a draw was fair. I think we're happy coming away with that. And yeah, unbeaten in the league. We're still sitting at a good position and just have to be grateful that there was no injuries on either team. That's my main thing. No injuries, no cards. Let the players go away on the international duties and come back safe. And then we'll crack on and play Watford afterwards.
Mr. B, I like the whip idea, Gems. He's nasty. Stoney, go and sort him out, man. He's nasty. Satan Beard, behave yourself.
Someone needs to whip those that United team is a shame. I think we should send him a whip.
I think someone needs to whip Ollie. That's what needs to happen. FTB Good night, FTB Nick. Talk MU. So you're happy with the draw, right? Do you know what? I'm going to round this up with my thoughts. Going into today's game, no, I wouldn't have been happy with a draw. After the first half, I was thinking, do you know what? Just blow the whistle because we look absolute dog shite in midfield today. I don't know what happened. So I think ultimately the battle was lost today with Milner and Foden and Grealish. I think they were just too much for him towards the second half. And obviously both managers will be analysing those two games. So hopefully we've learned something from that. Bottom line, it wasn't Brentford. It was Man City, the Premier League champions that we lost points to today, and we were missing, you know, the person that is first, that creates the most chances, the most passes into the box, the most touches into the box, creates the most chances. Trent Alexander, he is first on all of those fronts. If you go and check the stats for the Premier League, we were missing him today, and it showed. That's my views on that today. So yeah, thanks for joining us, everybody. Thanks for joining us, Ian. We really appreciated you coming on. I love having your thoughts on stuff as well. Really do appreciate that. And we will be back with KopTalk next week. I think Artie, we're going to do, and Stoney, we're going to do some transfer talk, aren't we?
Yep.
Oh, Ian's gone already. Yeah, we're going to do some transfer talk, talk about also the youth team. I noticed there's a few of them. There's a little German guy that's just killing it out there at the moment. I can't pronounce his name, but I will practice that ready for Thursday night. So thanks for watching, everybody. Night.
And you know one thing I do like about him? He'll put his head where other people won't even put their boots.
We want people that are going to be competing for that first team spot, not another Shaqiri.
The way that this brother